You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
U.S. stuck with a clown show White House thought that it could finally speed up change, based on an article by Thomas Kika. The Constitution is not the problem. The power hoarders are. A brief summary. Politico's Jonathan Martin uses America's 250th birthday to argue that the country can correct itself through constitutional reform. He cites Harvard's Danielle Allen, who says Trump's wreckage may create a decade or two of structural change, including limits on money in politics, a larger and more proportional House, new primary rules, an end to gerrymandering, and higher congressional salaries. Who actually holds power? The article speaks the language of national self-improvement, but the actual power structure is not abstract. It sits with the people who write the rules, draw the maps, gatekeep the primaries, and bankroll the system that keeps them in place. That is the real subject here, not America in the patriotic singular, but the institutions and office holders who have turned representation into a managed asset. The piece gestures a constitutional amendment as if the republic were waiting for a maintenance schedule. It is not. Power is already being exercised through distorted districts, closed electorates, and money-soaked access. Those are not bugs in a healthy democracy. They are the operating system of an exhausted one. The source frames this as repair. Martin and Allen are right about one thing. The system is broken in ways that are structural, not accidental. Their list of reforms is bluntly concrete. That matters. But the framing still softens the political reality. It presents democratic decay as a technical problem awaiting a better design, when the harder truth is that the people who benefit from the current setup have every incentive to block repairs. That distinction matters because reform sounds clean. It sounds like everyone is standing around the table in good faith, waiting for a better blueprint. In practice, the defenders of the status quo do not need a persuasive theory to keep power. They already have the rules. The real obstruction is incentive. The article is strongest when it names the mechanisms: gerrymandering, closed primaries, money in politics, and a house too small to represent a modern country. Those are not symbolic defects. They are devices for narrowing political participation and insulating office holders from democratic pressure. What the piece leaves too polite is the motive. These systems persist because they are useful to the people who control them. A proportional House would dilute safe seats. Open and genuinely decisive primaries would weaken party gatekeepers. Limits on money would reduce the leverage of donors and lobbyists. None of that is obscure. It is exactly why the reforms are hard. Higher pay, lower accountability. No. The salary point is revealing because it exposes the publication's class assumptions. Yes, Congress should not be a playground for the wealthy or the donor adjacent. But raising salaries is not a democratic cure by itself. Without real structural changes, better pay just creates a more comfortable elite class inside a broken institution. If the goal is recruiting serious public servants, then the first requirement is not making Congress more lucrative. It is making it answerable. Otherwise the country gets the same insulated political class, just with better benefits and a more flattering self-image. The pattern beneath the optimism. This is the familiar elite temptation. Narrate democratic crisis as a moment of reflection, then substitute long-horizon constitutional optimism for present-tense conflict over power. That is useful to people who write about democracy for a living. It is less useful to people trying to survive its failures. The deeper pattern is simple. American institutions do not need more ceremonial faith in self-correction. They need power redistributed away from the actors who have learned to profit from narrow representation, distorted elections, and endless procedural paralysis. Until that happens, amendment will remain a noble word used to describe a fight that the beneficiaries of the current order are still winning. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Sam, thanks for listening.